Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl and welcome to my studio. In this series of videos, I'm going to show you how to make the Shangri-La Tapestry Crochet Bag. Tapestry crochet is an incredible technique for creating gorgeous colorwork with simple stitches, and the added bonus is the fabric is reversible. If you can double crochet, you can make this bag. To make this beautiful bag, you're going to need 2 balls each of 2 different colors of Be So Baby yarn, which is DK weight 100% milk fiber. I'm going to use 2 balls of color peach and 2 balls of color turquoise for the sample, and the original bag was done in 2 balls of navy blue and orchid pink. You're also going to need a size E4 or 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. Follow the link provided to order Be So Baby yarn and download your pattern. The construction of the bag begins at the bottom base. We start here in the center of the bottom of the bag and work out, increasing in pattern for the circular base of the bag. Once we complete the pattern of this star here, we start working still in the round but without increases to create the walls of the bag in this beautiful chevron pattern. Each of the charts explain that, and I'll show you those items as we come to them in the pattern. Let's get started. As you'll see here on the first chart of the pattern, we're going to start with a chain 5 and slip stitch to join to create a chain 5 ring. So I'm going to take my crochet hook now and my yarn. You want to tie your yarn onto your crochet hook. If you prefer a slip knot or magic loop or a square knot, it doesn't matter, whichever way you prefer. And you want to start with a chain 5. Now you want to slip stitch to the 5th chain from your hook, not including the working loop on your yarn. So you'll count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch is insert your hook, yarn over, pull through that chain, and also pull through the loop on your hook. Now you've created your chain 5 ring. Back to the chart, round 1 is chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then 11 more double crochets in the ring and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round to join. Now I'll show you how to do that. And notice we're still in that first color. We're only using 1 color on this round. So we're now going to chain 3, which counts as our double crochet, and I'm going to work around my tail so that I'm covering it as I go and won't need to weave in this loose end at the end. And as I'm showing you this, it will end up being something very important to tapestry crochet once we get to the next round. So a double crochet is yarn over your hook, insert your hook into the chain 5 ring, not into the individual chains, but just that chain 5 larger space in the center, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. If you need more help with learning how to do a double crochet stitch, please check out the double crochet stitch video in my crochet stitch library, and I'll post a link to that in the video description as well. We want to do 10 more double crochets all in the ring. We need to join this round, and normally we would just slip stitch into the 3rd chain of that beginning chain 3 to join, but the next round begins with a new color. So we're going to begin that slip stitch with our color, but then we're going to finish this stitch with our next color. Okay, so taking our 2nd color now, we're going to finish that last step of the slip stitch with the next color. So pull through. And you want to pull our first color taut just so that the stitch stays snug. Now next round is in our 2nd color, and we're going to chain 3, which counts as a double crochet in the same stitch, then work 2 double crochets in each stitch around. Okay? As we're doing that, we're going to carry our original color with us to hide it behind the work. So we're going to chain 3 now, and work a double crochet in that same stitch with our 2nd color, yarn over, insert your hook into that same space, because we remember this is where the chain 3 that counts as a double crochet is. And now we're going to grab the working yarn of our first color, and just like we hid the tail in the beginning of the last round, we're now just going to hide that main color as we go. If you wanted to hide all the tails to not have to weave in loose ends, you could do that as well. But for the demonstration of tapestry crochet, this is the one that I want to teach you this time. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now as we work around, the instructions for this round is to work 2 double crochets in each stitch around, which you've done before if you've done any hat or any increasing circle. The only difference now is that we're carrying 2 yarns as we do it. So we're going to work 2 double crochets in the next stitch, but as we go we're going to carry that second color of yarn. Okay, now we're going to slip stitch to the top of the first stitch at the beginning of the round to join, and we're going to use our same color because when we go back to the chart here, you'll see that round 3 begins with a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet in our second color, but then we do go back to our first color for the second stitch in the same space. And then you notice that we change color every couple of stitches here, and I'll show you that as we go. So we're going to start with turquoise, then go back to peach, then go back to turquoise. So it's a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet, but you want to do the last step of each stitch in the color that's going to be used for the next stitch. So we did a chain 2, we'll do our third chain in the other color because the next stitch is a double crochet, and that double crochet is in the same stitch. This is the increase. So you'll yarn over your hook, insert your hook in the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now the last step of this stitch is to yarn over, pull through 2 again, but the next stitch is in the turquoise. So we're going to then grab turquoise to finish this stitch and yarn over, pull through 2. And then you just want to give a gentle tug to the first color to make sure that the stitch is nice and taut. We're now going to work turquoise in the next stitch. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we finish this stitch in all one color because the next stitch is the same color. So let's go back to the chart, and even though we did chain 3 for the first stitch at the beginning of the round, the repeat is actually 2 double crochets in one stitch, 1 double crochet in the next, which again you're really familiar with if you've done any increasing in the round before like this. But this time we're going to do color B, color A, color B. Turquoise is our color B, so you want to make sure you're working over the other color as you go. So we're going to do turquoise, change our color to finish the stitch, to do our second stitch in that same stitch, our increase in color A, but finish the stitch with color B because the next stitch is also color B. Okay, so it's 2 double crochets in one stitch, 1 double crochet in the next, but within that we're doing 1 color B, 1 color A, 1 color B. So when you're changing color, it's really important that you do the last stitch, the last step of that stitch in whatever color the next stitch is going to be. So now I'm going to finish this round repeating that and just going slow so you can follow along. Okay, we're on our last repeat now, so we're going to work a double crochet in color B, change the color at the last step because the next stitch is in color A, switch colors again so that we can switch back to color B because the last of the 3 stitches is also in color B. Now notice that I was changing which way I grabbed my yarn each time. If you continually grab from one direction, you'll end up tangling your yarns. But if you pick a direction to grab your yarn from for each color, this works really well in a 2-color project. Like let's say you grab the color B from the front and color A from the back. If you do it in the same fashion every time, you'll end up keeping your yarns nice and tangle free. So now before we slip stitch to join, I want to make sure that I know what color I'm starting the next round in because that will determine how I finish this stitch. So the next round is also a chain 3 in color B, and then the next 2 stitches are color A, and then we go back to color B. So it's a 4-stitch repeat, but this time it's going to be 2 stitches in the first stitch and then 1 stitch in each of the next 2 stitches. So we're doing 2 different things here. We're changing color twice and also doing an increase to go from 3 stitches to 4 within our repeat. But because we don't change color on that first stitch, I'm going to do the complete slip stitch in color B. Okay, so now we're going to do our chain 3 that begins our round and counts as a double crochet, but because it's the end of color B at the moment, we're also going to grab color A to complete the 3rd of that chain 3 space. Then work a double crochet in the same stitch so that we get our repeat, our increase. The next stitch is also in color A, but the next stitch is in color B, so on our last step of the double crochet, we'll switch to color B again, and then finish the end of our repeat with a double crochet in color B. So we've got chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2. And that might make more sense when we do our actual repeat that doesn't have the chain 3. So we're now going to, in the next stitch, work 2 double crochets, 1 in color B, changing color at the last step, 1 in color A, finishing the whole stitch in color A because the next stitch is in color A, ending the last step of this stitch in color B because the next stitch is also in color B. So this repeat is to work 2 double crochets in the first stitch and 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches in the color sequence of 1 stitch color B, 2 stitches color A, and 1 stitch in color B. And that's what we're going to repeat all the way around for round 4. And notice that I'm covering whatever yarn I'm not using on a given stitch, I'm covering it and working over it in my stitches so that you don't see tails on the back side. Or you don't see the floats either. I made a mistake there. I'm doing 2 stitches in peach in a row so I can finish the whole stitch in peach on the first one. Okay, we've made it all the way around round 4, but before we slip stitch to the top of the chain 3, we just want to make sure that we begin the next round in the same color, which we do. So we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the beginning chain 3 to join. And this is what the end of round 4 should look like. The remainder of the base of the bag which is through rounds 12, you will follow the 2 different charts and do exactly what we just did on these rounds, which means you'll be increasing 1 time in each repeat and also changing the sequence of the colors as you go as well. In the next video, I will show you how to do the non-increasing wall section, which will be the second chart, or the third chart actually, second pattern to do the chevrons. For those of you that don't know me, I am an author, designer, entrepreneur, single mom, and a teacher. I hand dye and sell many beautiful yarns. I'm the author of dozens of crafting books and hundreds of free patterns. Have you seen my YouTube channel? There you can find hundreds of how-to videos on knitting, crochet, crafting, cooking, DIY, jewelry making, and so much more. I also host a live stream podcast on my YouTube channel 6 days a week. You can join me live at sunrise at the beach. It's so much fun. It is called Create, Share, Inspire Podcast. I do hope you can join us. Ask me anything live. It's a lot of fun. I also have a charity, Project Kristin Cares. A portion of every sale from my brand supports survivors of domestic violence. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.